All right, that took a little while. Had some technical issues. That turned out to be on YouTube side. All right, we should be able to get on with the stream. Just need to check the audio. Okay, just gonna do a little test. Test. Checking if the audio is actually working. Probably need to get the mic a bit closer. Hope this is fine. This is gonna be a big microphone in the way, probably. Yeah, maybe we can move like, hey, like that. I think this is better. You just have to live with it. All right, so basically I had some resolution issues. So basically I tried to stream it to YouTube and YouTube cropped it insanely. So that was useless. All right, I don't need these. It just feels weird not wearing these. I guess I'll pull it up then. There's no real audio. It's just, I don't know. It feels more official this way. And then I can easily test if the audio actually works. Yeah, all right. I'm just very, what's it called? Concerned about the audio ever since I had one stream where the audio didn't work and I had no way of knowing. So that was nice. Anyway, as you can see, we are going to write the dungeon today. So in the first stream, we made the map. Hang on a second, let me see if I can do, so you can just see the map itself more cleanly. Like this, something like that. Okay, so as you can see, this is the map that we created the first time. And it is the infested smuggler's den, which is this place where like the smugglers had this idea of building their den underneath a cottage out in the forest. And yeah, they had a successful business, or whatever you call smuggling business. But then one of them got greedy and actually stole some goods from a local noble or something like that. And that finally brought the guards on their backs. They had to abandon the den. And since then, other creatures have moved in. Creatures of the forest, creatures of the undark, perhaps, moving closer. But yeah, we made the map. The second stream, we filled the map with, I guess you could call it content. So that's all this small white text. I don't know how clean it is. Yeah, you can probably read it. But there's a lot of it, as you can see. So we basically figured out what do we want in the dungeon. And today I thought that we would be doing the, I don't know what you would call it. I wouldn't say the hardest part of the dungeon, but it's probably the most time-consuming part. It is the part where we write the dungeon. And what does that mean? Well, we write the area descriptions pretty much. So if I can usher us back to this one. All right. This looks a little bit crowded, perhaps, but hopefully it's fine. So basically, you should be able to see the Word document. So what we do, we go from area 1 to, how many areas do we have? 15. And we basically write everything that we need to know about these places. Or the DM needs to know about these places. We just add last these. and 14 and 15. Okay. And okay, so this looks a bit weird. Come back. Where are you going? What? Why are you like this? Jesus. It's not cooperating. It's just everything is failing today. That's probably fine. You should still be able to see what's going on. Good. Okay, so why has it just jumped? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But we don't care. It's Word. It's going to do whatever it wants. So yeah, we basically have all these areas. So we need to write it. And I don't know how interesting it is to look at on a stream. But I have tried to make it a little bit more interesting by changing the font to something else. Trying to change to this sort of typewriter font thing. But yeah, let's just get right into it. I think the first thing we can do is probably, you know what, let's just get rid of this. Do it the old-fashioned way. Can just stop interfering. Word. Thank you. So yeah, the first, I guess we'll just have to try that. The first area is the cottage. Let me see if I can bring it up so you can see it on the map. It's a little bit of a squeeze, but you should be able to see it. This is area 1. This is the cottage that is above ground, where there's a secret entrance through the fireplace into area 2, which we have down here. So let's just get into it by naming all these places. So I guess the first area could be sort of like the secret entrance. The name isn't super important. And this down here word doesn't care. I hate it so much. The names don't matter that much. They just need to be like make some sense and not be too repetitive. So maybe hang on a second. I will just cut away a little bit from the cam so you can better see. Okay, so area 3 is sort of this basically a depot area. So we can call this depot. All right. Area 4 is up here. This is another secret entrance. So the area 2 has the small secret entrance where you can get in through the fireplace. So it's basically like has room enough for one person to get through. But this area has a large ramp, so the entire like section of the garden can fold down and become this ramp that goes underground, so they can drive small wagons and such in here. So I guess we could call this loading bay, perhaps. Secret loading bay. Just juggling all these windows. Area 5 is kind of also a depot. We could call it. Should we just call it? What should we call it? I mean, we can also always give it a placeholder name so we don't have to deal with it right now. We can call it another depot. Very good. The next area is the kitchen. So that one is easy. We call it secret kitchen. And then the next area up here, 7, it's also depot. I mean, it is a smuggler's den. They need a lot of space to keep, like, store all these things. Maybe we call it like fine goods storage. Maybe like delicate things are stored in here, silk and that kind of stuff. Fine goods. storage. Then we have area 8, which is this room over here. It is the bedroom or the living quarters for the smugglers. Does it make sense to living quarters? Isn't it? Wouldn't it just be quarters? Lodgings? Lodgings, maybe. Then we have this area. This is kind of like a common area for the. Oh, I need to keep scrolling. There you go. Lodgings. Common area. Then we have this. This is sort of like the front room to the smuggler boss's room. So I guess we would call it. What would we call it? Front room. It's good enough for now. Then we have area 11, which is the smuggler boss's room. And number 12 is up here. It's more storage. Maybe we can figure out some better names once we start writing the descriptions. But for now, let's just call it more more storage. And then we have this circle area, which we turned into the training area last time. Decided this would be the better place to have it. So this is basically where the smugglers can practice their skills. They can practice lock picking at like this row of practice locks along this wall, and they can practice basically role play toll booth down here. So it's like training area. Then we have number 14, which is the fake shrine. It has a secret door here, which leads into the vault where they keep the most valuable things, including the treasure that was stolen by the what was it? The bad apple, the rogue smuggler. And so yeah, the big treasure of the dungeon will be in there. So area 14 is the shrine, and 15 is the vault. Very good. What language does this think this is? Who knows? Okay, so let us see. Let us give this. I think it's a little bit larger, maybe 16. Sure. So I've increased the size of the text a little bit, just so it's easy to follow on screen. Obviously, I will probably use smaller text. Now it's yellow. Dear God. Make it end. There we go. So what we want to do for each area is write two things. First of all, the sort of like the atmospheric description, basically the text that you can read out or paraphrase to the players as a DM. So it's basically a text that describes the room in like a visual way and not in a mechanical or like facts-based way. In case you've never run an official module before, most areas in pretty much any place has this little description, which is really nice because then you have something to read out to the players when they enter an area instead of having to make it up yourself. So that's the first part. The next part, coming below that, is the functional text. I think I called it that in my videos on creating dungeons. And that is basically everything that we need to know about this area in order to run it as a DM. So if there's a secret door, we write it here and we provide the necessary DCs and such. So let us find area 1. So we have this cottage up here. So we need to write the initial text that the DM can read out. as the players enter an area. Okay, so let's see. We have a cottage. The door opens. What do the players see? And we want to do it as visually like descriptive as possible, but also use some of the other senses, like really ground the players, like immerse them in this place, make it stand out, make it real in their minds. So no pressure. Let's see. Let's start with okay. It's basically a little story we're telling. It's like a few paragraphs of story. Oh, you open the door. How about the door creaks open to reveal a single room cottage. To reveal single room of the cottage. Kind of establishes there's just one room in this cottage. Like, it's a small house if it only has one room. So, well, kind of sets the stage a bit. The door creaks open. It's an old door. It hasn't been maintained in a long time. So, therefore, it creaks. The door creaks open to reveal the single room of the cottage. Let's extend this. The floor of which is covered with dirt and old leaves. So this place has been abandoned for a long time, maybe like a decade or more. So nature's sort of like reclaiming it. There's like old leaves blowing in from the outside, all that kind of good stuff. So we want to make that evident. So maybe, like, how did it get in here? Maybe that's a broken window. Below a broken window. Below stands a moldy old bed. Motley. Below broken window stands a moldy old bread. Jesus, a bed. And what else we have? We also need to mention the fireplace. Oh, we can make it even more dilapidated with branches of an outside tree reaching in. All right, this is also a little bit creepy. We also have a table set with dusty or dusty plates, and I guess it wouldn't be rotting fruit or rotting apples. If it's been a decade, I guess it would be just like gone. Table set with dust. And also, I mean, the smugglers wouldn't actually live up here. This is just the front, so maybe they wouldn't even have food. Maybe they have fake food lying around. That would be a fun detail. A table set with dusty plates and bowls with fresh fruit. Takes up most of the center space. So I'd like to give an impression of how cramped this place is if one table can take up all space. And then we want to mention the fireplace. How can we include that? Can we include that in the same sentence? Again, this is the riveting stuff of writing dungeons. I was debating with myself if I should do this stream And I thought, why not? Let's try. Maybe someone will find this interesting. Like the very slow pace. This is basically the video I did on making dungeons, just in real time and not cut down to a more digestible size. A table set with dusty plates and bowls with fresh fruit takes up most of the center space, and through the chimney of a fireplace. Yes. Fireplace. The wind howls. And then maybe some kind of finishing statement about the place. Through the chimney, fireplace, the wind howls. Or maybe that is a fine finishing statement. I mean, we made it clear this is very abandoned, dilapidated. All right, we'll do. We'll take this. We can always go back and add to it or something else. But for now, let's get into the next part, just to keep things a little varied. So we have some things that we wrote on this map, these notes. We have the secret entrance. This is part of the same thing. And we have a journal that reveals the secret entrance. So we need to at least mention those two. So let us start with the secret entrance because it is crucial. This is basically why we are here. We need to get into the dungeon itself. Of course, there's another way to get into the dungeon, but for now, let's stick with this. So what I usually do when I write these texts is I start by basically the keyword of this section. So that will be secret entrance. Dot. Very simple. And then I put them in bold to make them easier to find when you are the DM and frantically looking for the notes that you read up early in the day, and now you need to refresh them during the session. So it's real nice that it's kind of like highlighted in that way. So let's see. So this is the fireplace is the secret entrance to the smugglers. Smugglers Den. Marked A on the map. All right, so that is the first bit of information. Then we need to have the DC. A character looking for secrets in the area. Who succeeds on a DC 14 wisdom. Perception check. Notices. What would they notice? Notices a suspicious species. It's always difficult to spell when you have to like spell it out loud as well. Notice a suspicious edge inside suspicious edge on the fireplace floor. And maybe, how would they open it? Maybe just like a lever. It's not like these are smugglers. They're not like super advanced stuff. So a player that succeeds on a DC 14 Wisdom Perception check notices a suspicious edge on the fireplace floor and an accompanying lever. Pulling the lever opens the secret entrance to area 2. Very good. And can you still see the text? It looks like it's cropping a little bit. Hang on a second. There we go. All right, so that is the secret entrance. Now we need to mention the secret journal, because the players need that probably to find it. So we can just write journal and highlight that with bold. And let's see. So an old journal belonging to a smuggler, to one of the smugglers. Was thrown under the bed in haste during their exodus. Very dramatic word for smugglers. The exodus of the smugglers. And then we can basically do the same thing up here. A character looking for secrets in the area and who succeeds on a DC 7 perception check finds the book under the bed. Very good. Now, what is in the bed? So I guess this is where we could choose either to make a handout. We could do the classic, it's a journal, but all the pages are wet and intelligible. So you can't really use it for anything. Only the last page is what's it called, legible. So we could make a handout. I guess we can push that decision further down the line in the creation of the dungeon. For now, we can simply write find the book. Quick look through the book reveals several mentions of a secret entrance to the fireplace. So this will basically draw the player's attention to the fireplace, even if they didn't roll high enough to actually notice the secret entrance. They might still, I mean, they have to roll pretty low to get below 7 on a wisdom perception check. So maybe they'll find this instead. Also, they know that the entrance, they probably have been told that the entrance to the smuggler's den is at the cottage. So they'll be looking for this. So the question is, should they have, what benefits will this give? A character with this information can find the secret entrance to area 2 automatically. There we go. So you can find this. So basically, if you do a good roll, you found it directly. Or if you're slightly lower, that's sort of like this like safety net where you find it in here instead. All right, we also had the fresh fruit. That might draw the attention to the players, or the players' attention. Just add this fresh fruit. Closer look at the fresh fruit in the bowls. Reveals them to be made of painted wood. And that is all we need there. Very good. So that was area 1. Huzzah! Only 14 to go. We shall move on to the secret entrance then. And just trying to put it in focus. There we go. Okay, so this area is underground. We have the secret entrance, so we probably need to mention that there's this passage leading up. Maybe we should mention in the text. Opens the secret entrance to area 2. Maybe we should mention that there's a ladder, so it's just not like a tight squeeze. Pulling the lever opens a secret hatch. Bring a ladder leading down to area 2. There is a ladder now. Okay, secret entrance. We used size 16. There we go. So, the next area, area 2. Small underground, we have stone floor. I imagine the walls are probably... maybe they're brick walls. I mean, this is like a professional smuggler's operation that has been around for some time. Or it could just be wooden walls. Maybe the wooden walls would make more sense since we have the... we have some of the encounters with these worms that can like come through the walls. So yeah, maybe that would make more sense. Let's go with that. We also have some loot in the form of a barrel of incense. There's a secret door that leads towards area 8. And that is pretty much it. So let us try to write the area description. This is assuming they're coming down the ladder, I think. I guess we could write that. The following description assumes the characters entering from area 1. And then the DM can rephrase that if they want. So the ladder leads down to a dark room, a dank room, a gloomy room. The ladder leads down to a dark room with stone floor and rotting wooden walls. Along the south wall stands a few barrels, some of which are falling apart. passage leads to a passage leads onto a room to the that would be the west. The ladder leads down to a dark room with stone floor and rotting wooden walls. Along the south wall stands a few barrels, some of which are falling apart. A passage leads to a room to the west. Alright, that's basically all the information they need. Again, we can always add a little bit. Maybe like, I don't think we could have like, and there are like boots standing near the entrance, but it seems a bit weird that the smugglers would come down into the smuggler's den and then immediately take off their boots. Maybe they reserve that for their living quarters or something like that. Would there be anything else? Maybe some coats? I guess that would make more sense. We could add some coats along the south wall. A row of what's it called when it's like moth-eaten? Row of moldy coats, moth-eaten coats. Row of moth-eaten coats hang on the hang immediately to your left and please. This is just what the heck? Oh, sorry. Caps lock. And along the south wall stand a few barrels, some of which are falling apart. Alright. The ladder leads down to a dark room with stone floor and rotting wooden walls. A row of moth-eaten coats hang immediately to your left, and along the south wall stands a few barrels, some of which are falling apart. A passage leads on to a room to the west. So basically, again, giving this sense that this is a place of decay and dilapidation. Okay, so we need to. I guess we can have the entrance. A ladder leads to the fireplace entrance in area 1, marked A on the map. Highlight it. Then we have the secret door. On the east wall is a secret door leading to area 8, which can be detected by successful DC 17 wisdom perception check. What kind of secret door would it be? I kind of like that you have like not only like this, there's a secret door, but also just give the DM a little bit of information on what kind of secret door this is, so they don't have to make everything up as they go. So we have this rotten wooden. Okay, we can rephrase this. The east wall is a secret door into area 8. Full stop. Character for secrets, and so on a DC 17 with a perception check. No, what is this? Notices hinges behind a rotting wood panel on the wall. Pulling away the rotting wood reveals a door. There we go. Just give a little bit of description so the DM has something to work with. You can decide if there's a handle or not. So then, if there's loot in a room of any kind, I like to put it under a tag, basically treasure. Even no matter what it is, basically. So treasure. One of the barrels on the wall contains unspoiled incense worth 50 GP. And then we can add a little bit of extra information just for the DM's sake. The other barrels' contents are spoiled and rotted, rooted in time. That's the treasure. So we also mentioned the codes, and I think that's a thing that's just going to leave up to the DM to figure out, do we want to, what's in there? Maybe there are a few coins. We don't need to spend dungeon text on that. Again, I might have said it before. I'll say it again. We want this text to be as brief as possible, to give as much information as possible to the DM without overloading with information. So basically, think of it like you're making a movie, you do all these recordings, and then you say, all right, this scene is nice. Like, it would be nice to mention that in one of the codes, there's a picture of someone. In the other code, there's a golden ring with engravings and all these small details. It would be nice, but it would just overload the text, make it too difficult to navigate for the DM as they are running the dungeon. So we'll leave that up to the dungeon master. Right, next one, depot. Let me just align the map so you can see the depot. So here we have some crates of fine clothes. We have a locked door and barrels of stale spice. I guess this is just to like set the stage. So we have a locked door here, but it has pretty low dexterity DC to open. So if the players don't find the secret door, then they're basically presented with this door. And we have the classic situation where the players need to get through a door. I mean, sure, they can try to unlock the door, but this is an old place. They've already been told that the walls have rotted and such, so maybe they can just smash it down. Like, doors need to be serious stuff to keep out a determined band of adventurers. So I think it's fine to put it here. We just want to make sure that we don't block progression in the dungeon. We always want to make sure that there are possibilities for the party to continue. So we want to make obstacles, but not so steep obstacles that the party gets stuck. But I think an old wooden door probably doesn't stop a party. If it does, then maybe they don't deserve what lies beyond. Good. Let's do some writing. So again, there are two ways to enter this room, but it doesn't really matter. We can open the passage leads into a depot full of old crates and barrels. Basically, if they come from this way, they're going through a door, but there's still a passage that leads this way, and that's a passage here. So this description basically fits no matter which direction they're coming from. I guess that's the what's it called? The disadvantage of making a dungeon that has multiple entry points and like various ways to get around it, because you end up basically having more ways to enter a dungeon that you. I don't know even what I'm saying anymore. Maybe I should just write some text. The passage leads into a depot full of old crates and barrels. What else do they need to know? There's not much going on in this room, to be honest. This is basically just a room that shows the purpose of the dungeon. It kind of like, so it's not like, oh, it was smuggler's den, but they had no place to put all their smuggled goods. What's that about? But we can add something, some set dressing, like the coats. But what? How about, I don't know. Maybe we can think of something later. We just put it there. Not a placeholder per se, but sort of like. I don't know. Okay, so we have the room. I guess we call this. But I guess we have the door first. Locked door. The door leading to area 4 and what was this? 13? It's locked. I think we have the key somewhere. This is locked. This is locked. Key to area 3. Alright, so the key is in area 9. So if the characters did find the secret door and then went in here, then they could find the key and then they have the key over here. And if not, they will find the key later and, I mean, just have the dungeon make sense in a way. The door leading to area 4 and 13 is locked. And the key can be found in area 9. The door can be unlocked with a successful DC, what did we get? 12. Dexterity check. Using these tools. Old door. There we go. So, I mean, we don't need to list every single possible way to open this door. We can leave this up a little bit to the DM. And we could write, it takes a DC 12 to unlock the store with thieves tools. Breaking it down takes a DC, I don't know, 15 strength athletics check. Blasting it apart, it has this many hit points and such. Again, this is a lot of like minuscule details that will just make the text less easy to navigate for the DM. So we're gonna leave this up to the DM. So the DM can probably think that, okay, if the DC 12 to open it with thief tools, maybe it's similar if they want to use strength instead or something other than that. We'll leave that up to the DM. We don't want to leave everything up to the DM, but there are places where it's better. Crates and barrels. Most of the storage. Most of the storage containers. Is that like a double word? A storage container? Isn't it just a container? Most of the containers in this area are filled with filled with various bags of spices that have long gone stale. I guess the players could still try to sell them, see if they could fool someone to buy the stale spices, but maybe not. And then we have treasure. I can spell treasure. There we go. Crate. At the south wall contains 5 sets of fine clothes, each worth 15 gold pieces. There we go. Onwards to area 4. So forward. Oh, all right. 3 areas in little less than an hour. It's a slow process. Again, this is probably not the most interesting stream ever. It's basically just keyboard ASMR. Yeah. The secret loading bay. Okay, I will refocus that for you. There we go. So in here we have a wagon with 6 crates of sugar. We have a secret ramp, and we have an encounter. 5 poisonous centipedes, which basically reskin poisonous snakes. All right, let us start with the description. So I guess the ramp would be up at this point. So what would that look like if you enter? I guess we can just put a little disclaimer. The following description assumes the players, the characters enter from how do you phrase this? Further description assumes the characters enter from inside the dungeon. Yeah. All right. I guess there would still be a ramp leading up towards the place where the ramp would fold down. I mean, wouldn't that make sense? How would it work? You have the ramp and folds down. It needs to be steady. So there needs to be like wood underneath it or some kind of support that then when it folds down, it gets like flush with the floor to support it. How do you describe that in a way that makes sense for the players? That is the question. We're going to start with a simple opening. The door opens into a room with a tall ceiling, perhaps? I guess that would be a tall ceiling if you have the ramp. Opens into a room with a surprisingly tall ceiling. Surprisingly tall ceiling. Dominated by a four-wheel wagon, perhaps. But does it sound like the ceiling is dominated by a four-wheel wagon? The door opens onto a room with a surprisingly tall ceiling dominated by... It kind of sounds like it's a ceiling. Can we change that in any way? The door opens onto a room with a surprisingly tall ceiling. Dot. A four-wheel wagon. Yes, we'll do it the other way around. A four-wheel wagon loaded with barrels, crates, sacks. If we go with sacks, it'll be slightly different from the other areas, but then maybe the character's like, they're just old sacks on the wagon. We don't want to explore that. So I guess we'll go with crates just to see if they are to pique their curiosity. Four-wheel wagon loaded with crates. Dominates place. And under the we already mentioned the ceiling. We don't want to mention the ceiling too many times. Four-wheel wagon loaded with crates dominates the place, and the western end of the room is full of planks, ropes, forming a contraption. And the western end of the room is dominated. This room is dominated by all kinds of things. Four-wheel wagon loaded with crates. How to do this elegantly? Maybe this is too much of a word. Too much of a word. A four-wheel wagon loaded with crates. Stand in the center of the room. Maybe. Waits is abandoned. Let's keep it simple. That's center of the room, facing a contraption. Facing a contraption of wooden beams and ropes, filling up the western end of the place. There we go. The door opens onto a room with a surprisingly tall ceiling. A four-wheel wagon loaded with crates stands in the center of the room, facing a contraption of wooden beams and ropes filling the western end of the place. Cool. I don't think we need much more than that. Or anything other than that. Let's start with the simple stuff. Secret ramp. I guess it's not so secret from down here. A character investigating the contraption and succeeding on a DC. Let's make this simple. 10. Intelligence. Investigation. Check. Investigation. Check. A character investigating the contraption and succeeding on a DC 10 intelligence investigation check. Realizes its purpose by pulling on the ropes. Our ramp to the outside can be lowered into the room, creating a spacious entrance into the den. Very good. I think that's a decent description. All right, then we have the wagon. Let's write it this way. Encounter. If a character climbs onto the wagon or looks too close at its cargo, 5 poisonous centipedes. Bold. 5 poisonous. Appendix. Or usually put creatures in appendix C, because C for creature. So we're gonna go with that, even though we don't have made appendices yet. If a character climbs into the wagon or looks too close at its cargo, 5 poison centipedes crawl out and attack characters at will. And these poison centipedes, they deal like 1 point of piercing damage if they get a bite. But they deal a lot of poison damage. So these are easy to kill, but fairly dangerous. I think we talked about the dungeon would be for level 3 characters, like a party of 4 level 3 characters. So So this is sort of like the coming of age dungeon for the characters. Do we need to add anything to that? Probably not. So we can add treasure. Each of the 6 crates on the wagon loaded with sugar with 20 gold pieces. So yeah, there's some valuables they're picking up, but not the easiest to ship around, like unless they use the wagon, I guess. They're carrying around crates of sugar. Technically it's treasure, but not the most handy. Not a handy treasure. Alright, so that concludes area 4. Moving on to area 5. All right, let's see. So this area is another depot. Room is clearly a giant nest for some terrifying creature, I wrote. From this point, loud noise attracted tremor worms. Oh yeah, that was the whole thing about tremor worms. If you watch the movie Tremor, you'll know. If you haven't, it's probably worth a watch. I think it's a decent movie. Horror, I guess, about these giant worms in the desert. It's basically like Dune, but like in a small town out in like small town America, like really small town, like this desert town. You know, these worms in the ground and they attack, but unlike in Dune, the people fight back with guns and such. So it's I haven't seen the movie since I was a child, but I remember it was good. So give it a watch. Anyway, I think that means we could probably also rename this room. So another depot. We can rename this nest depot, or maybe just nest. Stinking nest. Stinky nest. Stinking nest. Whatever. Tremor worm nest. Okay, so nothing really happens in this room as far as the players know, but there is this trigger that when the players have entered this room, from this point on, the tremor worms can appear. Now, I think we did talk about last time whether we wanted that to actually be a thing. Because, I mean, they say the players enter from area 1 into area 2. They go to 3, unlock the door. Then they have this choice. They can either go up here to area 4 or go down here to 13. Which would mean that if they choose the 13 route, they'll get in here. They'll get into area 9. They'll get up into area 8. They'll see there's this door, and oh, alright, find the secret door from the other side. Maybe they'll find this door and come in from this side. But this whole wing up, oh, you probably not even see it because of the thing. But the whole like topmost part of the dungeon, it's kinda optional. So the fact that this tremor worm thing only triggers once they enter this room kind of reduces the chances of them encountering them. So I think we're gonna drop the trigger from this room and just make it like foreboding to see, oh, there's something nasty is living in this place, and maybe they can see that there are these like collapsed tunnels into the earth So they're aware that there's something larger than centipedes in this place. I think we'll keep it to that. We're also almost at 10 o'clock, so this will probably be the last room we do. Let me just reposition it there. Okay, so tremor worm nest. We haven't really gone for the smell descriptions yet, so maybe we can use that in this. I mean, we have called it stinking nest, so I guess it would make sense. Entering this room assaults your senses with smell. How do we phrase it? You smell this room before we see it. All right, that's a good one. Smell this room before you see it. The floor is covered with old fermenting roots. Yes, that's disgusting. The floor is covered with old fermenting roots twisted into nest-like structures. How large are these? Like maybe 10 by 10 feet. What kind of object would be that size? A barn door? The floor is covered with old fermenting roots twisted into nest-like structures the size of small boats. I guess that gives an idea. Various pale, maybe not various, just like pale mist, pale fungi grows in the, I already used the word twisted. Pale fungi grows in the entwined roots. Like a milky mist. This is real disgusting. Pale fungi grows in the entwined roots like milk, and on the all the walls. A large splintered hole in the north wall leads to a collapsed tunnel of loose soil. What are the odds they're gonna enter from this tunnel? Should we mention the door? Another door across the room leads further on. All right, just to make sure that the players are aware that they can progress. They can go further than this. So they're too deterred by this. I think this description is probably good enough for this area. But let us describe the nests. Nests belong to, I guess we should call it something else than tremor worms. Or we can use tremor worms as a placeholder name until we find a better one. Or we could just call them tremor worms, and then it would be a reference to Tremor. If anyone has seen the movie, that might work. How many do we have? 3? I don't know if we wrote that down. Let's say 3. Then this belongs to 3 tremor worms. I can't spell pen. What am I trying to spell here? Appendix C. Are not present when the characters arrive. Closer look at the nests. Reveals slimy scales. Let's just make us smiley scales. Oh, that's even worse. Slimy scales. Escapes. Stuck. A closer look at the nest reveals slimy scales and small bones mixed with the roots. Should we add some info about the bones, because the players might be curious and the DM might want to know what this could actually be. The bones in the nests come from a variety of forest animals, the largest of which belong to a deer. These bones can be identified with a successful DC. Deer bones, you know about nature. 12. 30. And intelligence. H check. There we go. Bones. The bones eye the nest. The bones in the nest come from a variety of forest animals, the largest of which belong to a deer. So this kind of gives an idea of what kind of prey these things can hunt. If they can hunt deer, they could probably hunt people. So yeah, I don't think... I mean, we can put in some loot if we want to. We could put in some, like, oh, there are human bones in here as well, if we want to. But I think we'll leave that up to decide. I mean, what would even be... What would have been hunting? Like, some kind of forester. So there's an old axe in here. I guess just having a few coins lying around in the nests kind of suggests that maybe some of the bones belong to people. Sure. Okay, so the nests for treasure. and succeeds on a DC. How much will that be? 14 perhaps, since it is a disgusting mess to look through. Wisdom perception check. Okay, searching the nest of treasure and succeeding. Probably the right way to phrase it. And succeeding on finds a scatter of let's say 13 gold pieces. Maybe we can add something about, oh, and they're humanoid bones. Maybe not. We can think about that later. So yeah, I think it is late enough, 10 o'clock. We have written 5 room descriptions, so we basically made it 1/3 through, which is fairly decent speed. It took a little while to get the stream going, so we basically had like an hour and a quarter of an hour or so instead of more. But yeah, we are gonna end here. To anyone watching later, well, I guess thank you for watching. Again, not the most exciting thing to watch. But maybe there's someone who will get some pleasure out of this, to see the very slow real-time process of writing a dungeon and get inspired. Perhaps not. Yeah, I guess that's it. If you do watch and subscribe to this channel, I can tell that I have written the outlines for the next 3 videos. They're going to be a bit shorter than the usual ones, to make it more feasible to do on a tight schedule. But there are 3 videos in the oven. They are all concerning themselves with how you can improve combat, make it more exciting, more engaging for the players. So yeah, the first one will probably come out in a few weeks. It'll be about how you can use the environment to make combat more exciting. That's probably the least exciting way to say the word exciting. How you can make combat more exciting. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll see you in a stream or in a video. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.